I gained over 10 pounds in 2 weeks when we went on vacation because I ate like crazy. I was 14 years old, and when you're a growing teenager, you eat. Especially if you're a girl and you get your period. Your appetite temporarily increases, you gain weight, which is natural. I didn't know that. I was just shocked and panicked that I'm gaining weight. And that's when the diet culture took over. I completely ignored how I looked and how my clothes fit because everything was alright. But the numbers on the scale gave me the ultimate feedback. I grew up in the 90s and early 2000s when ultra thin girls were celebrated and were the definition of beauty. Of course, I wanted to conform to society's beauty standards and be thin, especially as a teenager without much confidence. So what was I doing? I didn't have access to the internet back then. So I started buying those women's magazines with those bold titles that promised to help you lose 20 pounds within a month. Wow, that's what I need, I thought. I bought so many of them, literally tons of them, and I was so addicted to reading about this healthy eating and all those celebrities' diets that were based on eating green salads, not eating at all, or eating dried chicken without gravy. Gravy, it's the enemy. Same as sugar and carbs, of course. I also started running regularly, and of course I lost the weight fast. But in the process, I lost my healthy relationship with food and a little bit of myself. Of course, I couldn't keep up the regime because the logical consequence of doing something you do not enjoy is to stop doing it. If you stop doing it, you feel like a failure and you think you gotta start doing it again. So you start over and over again, and that is a vicious cycle. Long story short, at some point I reached my highest weight. I had a totally disordered relationship with food. I would either overeat or undereat, then overeat again. It was a mess. It took me years to understand and to realize that it feels too stressful for too long. And I began to think and to be skeptical about what to believe. Then a few years ago, after doing the proper research and fighting my way through the jungle of BS information and myths, I got my nutritionist certification where I started to understand the core principles of weight loss and nutrition. I have a healthy relationship with food and exercising, and it just feels freeing. It feels good to live a life where food is not the main focus. Imagine this, you're on a weight loss journey and you can feel good about eating ice cream as you shed those pounds. If your first thought is, that sounds too good to be true, you've come to the right place because you're still in a dieting mindset. But that's okay because you've taken a huge first step by realizing that you're done with dieting. Congratulations, because unfortunately too many people never get to this point in their lives. Now the next steps are to understand how your body burns fat. You need to know about the basics. You also need to understand why diets don't work in the long run and what you can do instead. At its core, weight loss is about creating a calorie deficit. This means consuming fewer calories than your body needs to maintain your current weight. When you're in a calorie deficit, your body turns to its fat stores to make up the difference. And that's how all diets make you lose weight, no matter how they are marketed. The thing is, they don't help you to lose weight in the long run because doing something you can't stick to for the rest of your life is the key to failure. Losing weight fast is hella tempting, I know. That's because we want to fix our body ASAP. However, putting your body in such conditions triggers your survival instinct, and the logical consequence is that you eat and eat and eat, which has absolutely nothing to do with willpower or discipline. Or it shuts down your hunger and satiety cues and you become completely disconnected from your body. This can lead to serious health problems. On the other hand, just being in a moderate calorie deficit, enjoying your food and feeling satisfied may seem too good to be true. I know how that feels. I've been there. I was getting my nutritionist certification and I was so brainwashed that when I read that carbs are a great source of energy and don't interfere with weight loss, I crossed it out and wrote BS on the side of the page because it didn't match what was ingrained in my brain. I almost stopped studying for my certification. So yes, this approach may seem implausible because it represents food freedom and too little torture, which obviously is the opposite of traditional dieting. The thing is, it is not too good to be true when we understand how weight loss works. And that's with the law of thermodynamics. So being in a calorie deficit. Sure, metabolism, genetics, hormones, and various health issues do play a role. But in my experience, too many people use that as an excuse instead of doing the work long enough. I have hyperthyroidism myself. I lost weight. I'm living with it. I even work with clients who have PCOS and they still manage to lose weight. Yes, in some cases, it may be harder and require more patience. But for most people, there is definitely hope if they decide to work for it and do the right things. And that is to be consistent with your calorie deficit. That is only possible when you allow yourself a scoop of ice cream on a hot summer day instead of just watching everyone else have it. So while you can eat these foods, there's still not an unlimited budget for them. Because if it was the case, then it would be too good to be true. In fact, using your budget just for these foods or mostly for these foods is not really helpful on your weight loss journey. You need to prioritize health and satiety. If you're serious about losing weight without dieting, you have to face the reality and accept that those stupid promises of losing 5 pounds per week are unrealistic and unsustainable. And I know it is hard because when you're insecure about your body, you want to fix it so badly, and there's no way you can start accepting it or loving it overnight. That's why in the beginning of your journey, you need to stay focused and constantly remind yourself of your main goal. If you stay aware of it throughout your journey of undieting, you will be strong and you will be able to resist the temptation to go back to that program that helped you lose 3 pounds per week several weeks in a row. Will it take longer to reach your goal weight? Most likely. But will you be able to keep it off this time and gain a whole new sense of confidence? Most definitely. All right, now let's talk strategy. Like I said, you need to improve your relationship with food, which means changing the way you think about what constitutes as healthy eating. Because of dieting, we believe that eating healthy means eating salads, forcing ourselves to eat foods we don't like, eating tons of lean protein, etc. But that's the diet mentality. Eating right means enjoying the way you eat, feeling satisfied, nourishing your body, and eating the foods you love. Whatever you do for weight loss, you will have to do it for the rest of your life, you know? So eating healthy also means paying attention to how different foods affect your energy levels and satiety. And one of the most effective tools for losing weight without dieting and understanding your eating habits is calorie counting. But Ina, isn't it also a diet? It's also not a long-term thing, right? Look, most of us gain weight by mindlessly choosing mostly unhealthy foods. Now we need to transition to mindlessly choosing mostly healthy foods and intuitive eating. Yes, I said mindlessly both times. We need to make healthy eating a habit. Calorie counting can serve as a bridge between those two behaviors. It's not a diet, it's a tool. Once you're on the other side of the bridge, you're safe and you don't need the bridge anymore. And as you cross the bridge, you educate yourself about your eating patterns and understand principles rather than just following rules. Dieting feels oppressive and impersonal, whereas calorie counting involves a personal and realistic approach to achieving your goals. It helps you regain a sense of power and agency over your food choices. You know that debate you sometimes have in your head about whether or not you should eat a certain food. Boy, that can be stressful. But when you track your calorie intake, you pay more attention to whether you really want it. If you have limited budget, you will use it wisely. So if you're serious about losing weight and want predictable and trackable results, I highly recommend you learn more about calorie counting. You can start today and see great results in just a few weeks. And yes, I agree, calorie counting can seem daunting at first because you have to learn a bit about it. But trust me, once you get the hang out of it, it is a breeze. Watch these 2 videos first to get your weight loss journey to the next level and lose weight for good. Also, if you like my perspective, of course, subscribe to my channel to learn more about healthy and sustainable weight loss while ditching the diet culture. Have a great day. See you in the next video.